Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Real Israel Podcast with me, your host, Chaim Mailspin. Join us as we dive into Israel's past, present, and future as we explore the rich history, current events, and visionary perspectives shaping this dynamic region. Welcome to another episode of the Real Israel Podcast with me, your host, Chaim Mailspin. We're here with an amazing person who's doing amazing things. And isn't it great on all these episodes to meet the real Israel, not the lies you see on TV, not all the social media drama, people who are changing the world, and that's you, Adi. Oz, and Oz means strength, your last name. And Adi, what does Adi mean?
Adi means jewelry.
Jewelry,
yeah.
Okay. God says the children of Israel, He'll take them and wear them as jewelry, as an ornament, it says in the book of Jeremiah, I think it is. You are here showing people who society sometimes feels they have no value. And you're showing them that they have great value. That must be quite a hard job. Because what if they themselves don't believe they have value?
You just catch the essence of our work. Exactly. Mm-hmm. We come to people who feel they have no value, they have nothing to contribute to the world, and the world cannot help them anymore. And we try to make them feel that they do have value, that they have a place in the world, and the world needs them, and they can give something to the world and get something back. That's amazing. The main thing. We talk about work and about getting to have a place to work, but the actual meaning that we're dealing with is about having meaning in life and having a place in life and having a sense of value. That's exactly what we do here in Hope Center.
But I want to go way back. Even right now we're in a war still. And I want to talk about that as we continue. But I want to start from the very beginning. And even so, I know there was Matthias and
Okay, so Hope Center was established by an amazing couple called
Swiss, right?
They're Swiss. They're Christian and they're Swiss, and their name is Matti and Tabea Opliger.
Okay.
And they started this vision in Switzerland.
Okay.
They understood that they want to help people that practice prostitution to get out of this kind of life and find job. That they started this vision when Tabea met at the street of Zurich a woman in prostitution who came to her and started talking to her, and then she told her a sentence. She told her, "We don't need pity, we need jobs."
Right, the quote, her main quote.
Yeah, and that was like it focused Tabea, and then she took her partner Matti with her to establish a place in Switzerland to help people in prostitution to find jobs.
Maybe they feel that's the only way they can provide for their kid or for their family, maybe, and they need a way out.
Exactly. And then Matti just came to visit Tel Aviv. He's a surfer. He came here to surf with his friend. And then they just fall in love in Tel Aviv and in Israel. And they took their 3 children and came to live here in Israel, and this is how they they started the Hope Center. At the beginning, their vision was, we will be the people who give jobs to those people who need, to those women especially, but not just women. And they open, how do you call it, a carpentry shop?
Yeah, carpentry, woodworking.
Woodworking shop, and then they changed it to bag factory. They started to manufacture bags,
like fancy purses, or what kind of
not very fancy, just like computer bags and stuff like that. From recycled kites. They took kites,
actual kites that are in the sky.
Kite surfing. We got
kite surfing to
kite
surf.
Surfing. We got we're getting a donation of kites from kite surfers in Israel and all around the world, and we make bags from that, and we the people who do the actual work were survivor of prostitution survivors. So this was the main project at the beginning, but then it kind of changed, and now our flag project is a joint project with the government. And in that project we come to prostitution survivors and we give them a vocational rehabilitation track. It's a long track. We'll talk about it in a minute.
It's like a 2-year track, right? 2 years.
It could be more. I mean, we start with a 4 months course. In that course, we give them like a very basic skills that is important to build any career, and it's skills that are very hard for prostitution survivors. And after that, we help them find job, which is the main goal. And after they find job, we still support them. We give them mentorship, and we support them. It could be 2 years, it could be more, it could be less. It depends on them, what they need and what they want from us.
Yeah, and I want to go more into that, and even during the war and how it's been in this very hard time. It's not a 6-day war, but even before that, again, I know people want to get to know you even deeper, like, how did you start with this? And isn't this stressful? Every day you wake up, have your coffee, and you have to deal. What you have to deal with?
Stressful.
Is it dangerous? Is it? And how did you start? And do you have brothers and sisters? You know. So let's start with
about me.
Yeah,
about
where
myself.
were you born? Let's start with where you were born.
I was born in Kiryat Shmona, not
up in the north.
up in the north.
I was stationed there because I fought in Lebanon, in southern Lebanon, against the Hezbollah just now.
Yeah, when I was born almost 50 years ago, it still was very hard time at the north, and there was a lot of Katyusha missiles.
In 2006, I was there too, fighting Hezbollah.
So it was, but most of my life I was working as a journalist. I was a journalist, and the last job I had, I was the editor-in-chief of At magazine, also Time Out, but after that I was almost 9 years the editor-in-chief of At magazine, which is a women and lifestyle magazine.
I think it's the biggest in Israel.
Now it's not the biggest, but it's one of the biggest magazine, And I really like my job. And in 2006, I was a magazine journalist in a newspaper called Ha'ir, the city, the city of Tel Aviv. And then I was doing a big story about the way the Israel government treats women in prostitution. Back then, there was no a special unit in the government that helped women in prostitution. There were people that helping homeless people or homeless women or women who were addicted, but nobody paid attention to very unique situation of prostitution survivor. And I made a big story about it, and then it got a lot of attention. And in that time, the Prime Minister, it was Ehud Olmert at that time, there was a special discussion about it, about my story at the Knesset, at the Israeli parliament. And then Ehud Olmert came to that discussion, and there was a government decision to start treat women in prostitution in a special and unique way, the way they need. They need a lot of help. So that was the first time I was aware to that world. It was like the first thing that catch my eyes was just at the place where I lived at that time. There was like a bordel.
Brothel or brothel, I guess.
There was like a discreet apartment, the way they call it, in the first floor. And then I was suddenly realized that the women that are coming to this apartment are actually doing prostitution as for their living. And I was very shocked about it, just to understand that, to realize that in the middle of Tel Aviv, just to acknowledge that it is part of life. I wasn't aware of that at that moment. And then I started to research and learn about it more and more, and then I understood that there's a lot of women that have to do that, and we don't pay enough attention to them, and we don't give them enough help that they need to get out of it. So that was my first connection to the subject.
And how long was that research you had for this article, this big article that went all the way to the Prime Minister?
It was like
really
2 month work.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit in 2 month work. But then I left it and move on and deal with a lot of other subjects, and I came to art and I became an editor, and then for the last like 7 years ago, I joined the board of another NGO called Lomdot Mineged in Israel, which is a support organization to prostitution survivors.
Which means that in English, so not standing by or not a bystander.
Not a bystander.
Active. Okay.
Yeah, don't be a bystander. Yeah. That's the meaning of the name.
Yeah.
And that's also...
That's your organization.
It wasn't my organization. Okay. It's the one who... the person who started it called Nama Goldberg, Dr. Nama Goldberg. She asked me to join the board. She started this NGO. She was just establishing it. And she called me and asked me to join the board. So I joined the board of Lomdot Mineged. I did that for 5 years. I was still doing my journalist job. I was working as the editor-in-chief in AT, but I did it as a volunteer. And then I decided that I want to leave the journalism and to move to something else. That was 2 years ago. And then I heard about Hope Center, and Mati and Tabea was just planning on leaving Israel. They understood that they cannot stay here. Okay. And they have to leave Israel, and they were looking for someone who will take the leadership.
Now it's two organizations. Like KitePride is really part. It's the business.
KitePride. That's the brand. That's the name of our bag brand.
I gotcha. Okay.
Okay, that's
because it's from kites. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now we're not manufacturing in Israel anymore. We closed the brand in Israel. We're now just shifting to a different kind of way of manufacturing abroad. And sell the bags in Israel. We're still trying to work on it. We understood that by hiring prostitution survivors and giving them work, it's still a very small impact because we can't hire all of them.
Right.
And if we focus in our training project, we can make much higher impact because we can get to much more people. So we decided to shift the focus. Instead of hiring people by ourselves and being an employer by ourselves, we're trying to give people tools so they can go and find any other job they want.
Right.
And
like first, maybe you're valuable. You're not trash. You are a child of God.
Yeah, totally. And you can conquer the trauma. You can fight with all the things that left you trapped in this world. We can give you tools, and the most important thing, we can give you support, and we can give you our trust and our beliefs. So together we'll do that. I mean, it's something that every person needs to do by himself. We cannot do things for the women. They have to do it for themselves, but they need to make the choice, and they need to deal with all the very hard aspects of that choice. But we can be there for them, and we can believe in them, and we can give them all the support and all the tools that they need.
There's in London, downtown London, where all the fancy like Prada and all these fancy, all the name brands are. And there's a friend of ours who has this thing called Beulah, and it's trafficked women, very similar. And they work with the government and the police, and they find women that were trafficked. And these women come and help make dresses. Very similar, but they're fancy dresses, and often you'll see like Kate Middleton wearing them, and other people like that, stars, like big stars wearing them, and they know it's made by trafficked women. I feel it must be very similar with these bags. And you have a storefront or just online?
We are online store, and people can purchase it called KitePride. It's very lovely bags.
And so this war, how has it been to do this? You said the production is not in Israel right now. Yeah. And the war has been on for about 600 days.
Yeah, it's really hard. First of all, it's very hard for people, the population that we help, most of them have PTSD or complex PTSD. And when they hear about everything that's going on and all, especially at the beginning, but still till now, we still hear about all the sex violence towards Israeli women and the people in the Hamas captivity.
Oh, yeah.
It's very hard for our population to hear about it. It's very triggery for them because it's just to push all the wounds that they're having. It's something that is very hard for them. So that was one thing that was. The other thing that is hard for us, fundraising. We are an NGO. We do collaboration. We do have collaboration with the government, and we do get support from the government, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Everyone that work in that field knows it's not enough. So it was also very hard for us because all the focus went to the war, and it was very hard to. I mean, it's always hard to speak to in the names of people in prostitution because people have so many misunderstanding and fake and misunderstood. They don't understand the field and they don't really understand what make people go there and how damaged does it make them. So it's always hard for us to explain to the world why people need our support and why what we're doing is so important. And in wartime, it's even harder to make people listen.
People think of other countries, maybe Berlin, maybe other places with red light districts, maybe Thailand, but they don't think Israel has anything like this. You say, did I understand, 12,000 or more? Maybe
actually, it's much more.
In Israel?
In Israel, like the official numbers talk about between 12 to 14 people in prostitution in Israel, but the truth is, I believe it is much more. And also people, when they talk about, like, these numbers rely on research that was almost 10 years ago. Okay. So things really change. And also, when I look at prostitution, I look at it as a spectrum. And in that spectrum, also places like OnlyFans, for example, or whatever happened in the digital... Like there's a whole field of digital prostitution. That like those numbers don't count. Right, they don't. So I think the real situation is much harder.
Is there a story that stands out to you that you can think of someone who's I'm seeing in my mind like someone who's like has dirty rags, and then this is my picture, and then white, clean clothes. Like it just feels like they have a transformation inside, and they struggle, but you can see a transformation, and you say, wow, this person, I saw them here and now I see them here 2 years later.
I don't share the same vision.
Okay. I don't know.
As you. I see it a little bit different. Okay. But there are like small and big success. Okay. Yeah. I'll give you something like a very small success, for example, and then we'll talk about the big success. Okay, so if we start with a very small story in a course, for 4 months course, when we teach them like all kind of skills. Okay. One of the skills is to write CV. It's a very important thing when you want to go to find a job. And we had this woman in this course we had in Haifa. She's a very young woman, and she never worked, actually. The only thing she did was prostitution. She never really had a job.
Her whole life, no.
But she's very young, so she was just sitting there, and you could see her anxiety, and you can see how bad she feel about herself, and that she didn't believe in herself. And she was saying, I have nothing to write on. I have nothing to write on the CV. It's not right for me to even try to write this. I have nothing to offer. And then our social worker who works at this course, she told her, but we brought some HR people to help them. She told them, they're already here. Let's try. Let's see. And then she talked to her about all these kind of things that she do in the rehab center that she's in right now. All these kind of tasks that she have to do, and all the kind of responsibility that she's having and she have to do there. And then she realized she has responsibility about the kitchen, and she has responsibility about this and that. And then she understood that she's actually very meaningful, and there are things that she's doing and she's responsible about them. And reflects some kind of abilities that she has.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize that before. So it was like just a 10-minute talk that changed very deeply the way she think about herself. And at the end of the class, she said, "Wow, I'm so glad that I really did
took
it.
The risk.
Yeah, I took the risk, and I just spent 10 minutes about thinking, what can I give and what are my abilities." And it's like a very small story.
Yeah.
But for us, this is kind of success that we're looking for.
She's launched into her new life. She can.
I mean, it's just the first
beginning, the first
step.
step.
First step. There will be so many steps afterwards, and there will be so many obstacles on the way. But this is like a small thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about the big successes, so for example, we have this woman who really like dogs, animals in general, and she really likes children. And she, at the course, she met someone who's I don't know how you say that in English, like therapeutic work with
animal
dogs.
Therapy.
Animal therapy. Animal therapy.
For soldiers as well, it's something even with horses or dogs.
Yeah.
And you have to say, you have to wake up in the morning, you have to give this dog water. Exactly. And then you feel like, oh, I'm needed just for this animal. Exactly. It's with PTSD and soldiers, it's true as well.
So she's doing that work with children.
Okay.
So she realized this is something she wants to do. Then we help her go and learn that. Says that she can do that, and then we help her find a job in that. And she's already doing that for a couple of years. And now she wants to do another degree and to develop that career. So she really found herself during that. And so this is like a very big...
With these children, she goes and takes care of them, and also with animals too. Or
she has her own dogs, and she go and do some sessions with the kids. And help them, like kids that have a problem with
learning disabilities.
Yes, and connection and all those kind of problems. She helped them.
I like the quote from you. I just want to read your quote. I'm going to quote Adi Oz, the CEO.
Okay.
We believe in giving survivors not just a job, but a future, a place where they are seen, heard, and valued. That's you.
Because many times, most of the population that we're dealing with is people that have very weak family in the background, or no family at all, or family that don't really function, and many times they come with no back for themselves, and we want to be their back. We want them to feel that we are here for them, and they have someone to rely on, and they have someone who believes in them.
Maybe their family excommunicated them, or does that mean they don't talk to their family anymore? Sometimes, maybe.
Sometimes they don't talk to them at all. Sometimes they do talk to them, but it's not a good talk.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, sometimes relationship with families can be very complicated, and sometimes they take you down instead of bring you up. So it's many times there's connection between the relationship that you have with your family and your chances to get to this kind of experience at the end.
Okay, I have a question for you. This is a little harder now. Where was a moment where you felt yourself you want to give up? Where you say, it's too hard. This can't be all, what is it called? All the energy every day in the morning, all the energy to deal with people who are going through the hardest things a human can go through. Essentially, these are the hardest things, pretty much, that we know of in our society. And
I think that part of our daily job is to know to give up. It's something that we deal with every day, because we cannot do the process for them. We can just be there and help them do the process. So, and we have this kind of dilemma every day. For example, we have this amazing woman, and she had a relapse, and she go back to drinking for almost a year now, I think. And we called her twice a week, 3 times a week for many months already. And every time she's saying, yeah, I will come tomorrow, we'll speak tomorrow, yeah, I want to do rehab, I want to be clean, I want to... But she doesn't come. She doesn't come. She doesn't find the strength in her at the moment to do that. And we just have to give up. I mean, it's in her hand, it's her choice. I can't do the choice for her. I can just give her the tools to help her. The minute she will do the choice to get out of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's an essential part of our job to know to let go and to understand that you cannot control everything.
You have to be able to. But you yourself didn't want to give up. You yourself didn't say, I am done. I am giving up. Yeah.
We're not saying that we won't call her anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
We will keep calling her, but every time we call her, we do need to understand that it's not our choice, it's not in our hand. And we have to let go, because otherwise we keep thinking about it all the time.
It's her choice. She has to be able, she's a free person to make her own choice. You do your best 100%, and then it's up to her.
But it's very hard to let go, because you keep thinking about it, and you keep telling to yourself, what else can I do? Maybe I'll go there. Maybe I'll go to her apartment and I'll try to talk to her. And we did that as well. But then you come to this point that you understand that, okay, I did what I did. I cannot take responsibility more than that. So I need to let go. And it's a very essential part of our work. The tools that we give them are more connected to the
tangible, practical tools.
Yeah, it's not just practical. It's also like therapeutical.
Therapeutic, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. We don't.
Don't bring in any. Is a vision for the future. What are your goals for Hope Center in the next 3 to 5 years?
We came to many places around Israel. We started to work in Haifa, Beersheba, Rehovot.
Okay.
Now we just launched a new collaboration with a center in Tveria.
Oh, wow, good. I'm very excited to work with you on this.
Yeah.
Wherever I can help, you know.
Exactly. So sure, we'll use that help.
Cool timing.
Yeah. So my goal is to get to every place in Israel and to get to every women, man, transgender, who's in prostitution and want to get out and want to find a new track to a new job, a new career. So I just want to get to all of them.
Every major city in Israel.
Every major city in Israel, and also like small cities in Israel, not just the major.
Right.
At the moment we do work at the all major city except Jerusalem. I really hope like next year we'll start a collaboration with places in Jerusalem, and we'll get there as well.
Yeah. And so the steps would be go to the government, ask for budget, or just rent a place. Do you need a storefront?
The way we work, we do collaboration with centers all around the country. For example, in Haifa, there's a rehab center for women only. Okay. Most of the women who were addicted to drugs and alcohol, most of them, it's almost all of them usually in some way practice prostitution, because it goes together. So we have collaboration with that center, for example. Or in Beersheba, we have collaboration with a center that helps women in prostitution and women in risk. So the way we work is by collaboration with all kind of places and centers in Israel. We figure out that this is the best way to work. So we want to have and we already have collaboration with the government. We already have the support of the government. I hope that next year it will be bigger, but and it will be deeper, and we'll do more. We'll get to more places together with the government.
Well, how can people find you, the website, if they want to? Is it just kitepride.org?
No, Hope Center. If you want to buy the bags, then look for KitePride.
Okay, .org or .com?
.com.
Okay.
KitePride.com. And if you want to support the NGO, Hope Center, then look for HopeCenter.org.il.
Okay. HopeCenter.org.il. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find and you can hear more about what we're doing, and you can support us. We always need support.
Yes. So we're going to be all praying for Oz. For you, Oz.
Thank you very much.
And for the journey, and for the... You know what? It's a problem that can be... I mean, you can see real change. You can see people transform and get out of this spiral. It's like a spiral, huh? Like a loop.
Yeah, it's totally a loop, and they have a lot of obstacles to get out of it. You need to change the time that you work, the way do you think. You need to just get out of your apartment. It's sometimes very hard for people who are prostitution survivors just to go to the street. People look at you and you're not sure if they recognize you, if maybe someone filmed you and you don't know, and you have a video of you in the net, and it's like a lot of trauma that you have to deal with and get over it.
Yeah.
But many people do it, many women do it, and it's really encouraging, and it gives us a lot of strength and belief to see that happen.
Thank you for your hard work and
Thank
for your time, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
We stand together.
Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Real Israel podcast with me, Chaim Mailspin, where truth shines, dispelling the darkness. And if you found value in today's episode, please like it, comment, we want to hear from you, and subscribe. Click that notification bell and share it. Join the conversation and be a truth speaker for Israel.